smartphones, they've come a really long way, haven't they? Like from being something like this as our imagination, and then from being CGI, and then being prototypes to now being an actual thing that you can actually buy from a store and take home. Well, now it's been a little bit more stagnant than ever on the foldable market, considering the fact that it's been 2 years since the arrival of foldables into the consumer market, and we haven't really seen that burst in a lot of companies wanting to invest in foldable tech. Yes, we've seen a lot of concept phones like phones from TCL and even leaks from companies like OnePlus having a trifold as well, but we've kind of accustomed to a sort of normal trend going on. Yes, Samsung is putting on like under-display selfie cameras and adding a stylus to the fold, but seriously, is this innovating than ever? Well, present isn't really that great, but what holds in the future for these foldable devices? Well, that seems quite interesting, and let's have a journey inside it, shall we? Let's get the things that people want to hear about folds first, alright? Cheaper prices. Like, people love cheaper prices, especially when the tech matures. It is given that a foldable tech or like any kind of like first time tech will start getting cheaper prices. Like under display fingerprint scanners. Just 2 years ago, they were only available on flagships. Now you can get them on mid-range devices and even cheaper sub $200 devices. And AMOLED screens, well, you can get them on $300 devices. So when you see that the tech matures, well, it becomes good and cheap as well. So we can see a lot of these foldables coming down to a cheaper price. The Galaxy Z Flip and the Z Flip 5G. Well, they launched at a price of $1449, and now the Z Flip 3 with a ton of advantages like that bigger outer screen and like a better inside panel and 120 Hz refresh rate. Well, we can see it going for $999, and you know Samsung's aggressive price cuts, and over time it will go somewhere around $799. We even saw the concept TCL Chicago phone from many reviewers. Unfortunately, that did not make it to mass production, but from what we can actually say is that companies are wanting to invest in these. These are more safe and competitive because of the fact that this is a tried and trusted method of holding phones, and many people are into actually buying these. But what people aren't into are those book type foldables like the Xiaomi Mi Mix Fold, the Huawei X2 Fold, and the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 3 5G 12GB by 12GB version. So all of these kind of folds, companies are really taking some time to put their resources into for a lot of reasons. But overall, the whole thing is that these book type folds, they are still pretty expensive. Like it took them 2 years to actually cut down the price reasonably for $200 or something. But these flip type foldables, well, they are sparring in demand, and that is pretty much happy to see. Second thing is that we can see more companies actually wanting to come into this foldable market. Right now, the only player who actually matters in the foldable market is Samsung, because let's be honest, Huawei, as much as they actually make foldable phones, they don't run GMS, so nobody cares how much ever good Huawei phones are. And considerably, they're super expensive than Samsung's foldables. What about Xiaomi's foldable? Like, yeah, it's pretty cheap, right? Yeah, it's pretty cheap at coming in at $1,500, but Samsung's own Z Fold 3 is actually $1,799 now. And let's say that Xiaomi's foldables aren't really the best experience that you can actually get. But from what I can say is that I've seen a lot of new companies coming into this as well, with FlexPi actually bringing a better foldable, because let's be honest, FlexPi's two other foldables have been completely looking like half-baked prototypes. So we can see FlexPi is actually coming back to the game. Let's actually hope that they actually bring something better onto the table. But the two major players that actually matter are Oppo and Honor, because Honor has GMS now, and they can actually bring the Huawei Mate X2. They can actually bring that Huawei Mate X2 Pro, but with GMS. So that would actually be pretty good. And Oppo, on the other hand, like we already saw their Oppo X rollable phone, which was surprisingly actually good. But at the same time, we can't really keep our hopes too high because Oppo really hasn't been in such a position yet. We've seen Oppo experiment with a lot of things, but many didn't make it into the mass consumer market. And so we just have to wait. So as a matter of fact, when we can see more competition, we can see a lot of price going down and the technology getting better. But the last thing that I want to talk about over here is newer designs and better build quality. And as we saw with the new Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 3, they actually integrated IPX8 water resistance. But the X meant that there was no proper dust resistance. But over time, as we can see that it's like a competition actually grows, and we can see a lot of companies coming into this, we can see what each company has to offer into it, which also means the fact that we get better build quality, better durability, and just overall a better fit and feel, and a better assurity that foldable phones aren't fragile. But that isn't to say that today's foldables are fragile either. Like, I've clearly seen a lot of people actually abuse their foldable as much as they can, but some people who haven't really abused their foldable much, well, they'll be getting cracks and these stuff, which really isn't expected from a $1449 device. But from what we can actually say is that as tech matures, this also matures, and we can really see things going for the good. But put all of this actually should be backed up by good software, right? And that's where Android 12L comes in. And that's a surprise. Android 12L is really meant to push Android foldables forward. Because let's face it, if Android actually screw this up, every foldable is screwed up as well. So really hope that Android 12 actually solves this foldable aspect ratio problems and forces companies like Instagram to also like adopt their so-called aspect ratios, because Instagram is a weird app to use on a foldable. Well, what am I even talking? Not even a foldable, even on a normal Android or an iPad, Instagram looks super weird. But again, we hope that foldables actually burst. We hope that actually foldables become a big thing and they create the next bang in the smartphone market. But that day isn't today, and that day is coming pretty soon in the future. So, hopes.